go deeper in where we are right now. The journey of this energy shift, there is a journey, right? So currently we are at period 8, and the journey has already started since 2017 because, as you guys know, the heaven plate has already started, right? And then again, right, period 2020, there's another big shift. Pandemic happened. Okay, so that itself triggered a big step towards period 9. Okay, and as we all might already know, if you guys are not new to metaphysics as a topic, you guys already know 2020 was when the grand conjunction actually happens, right? So I'm not surprised at all if the shift was actually triggered then. Okay, so one very good way to tell whether you are involved in the big shift, ask yourself, is there anything big that you have gone through during this 2 period of time? During this period, 2 period of time, right? You can write down in the comment box, okay? Anything major happened during that time, right? It's not just something major like, right? But something major that happened that shifts your entire perspective about life. Definitely. For me, I quit my job, and you give yourself about plus minus 1 or 2 years, yeah? I quit my job at my corporate job. I was like high flyer back then. I quit my job in 2018. Yeah, I studied metaphysics 2017. I quit my job 2018. Yeah, started my PhD, locked down another business. I have to shut down how many? 2 businesses too. 2020, I went through a breakup. I had to shut down two businesses. Okay, so 2017. Plus minus, by the way, sure got one. You moved to US in 2018. Definitely, most if not all, have a certain impact during this time. And with that impact, you will definitely have a perspective change. Yeah, during these 2 times, I definitely did. Yeah, and it brought me to where I am today, talking to you guys. Never have I ever thought so, or never have I ever planned to be doing this. Right, it's really not part of my plan, I promise. Okay, so for those who know me, you know me, it's really not my plan, right? And that is why, okay, this is the shift. It does trigger all of us, right? I personally had a sudden awakening, right? Perhaps you guys who made the change had that kind of sudden awakening as well, and you felt like it. And most, if not all, correct me if I'm wrong, those who have a major change, right? Usually the fire element, the chart is quite strong one. Yeah, I remember earlier on, I did mention that those who have very strong fire elements in their chart, usually they're more in sync with the energy shift, right? So if your energy, if your chart, Bazi chart, that's why I said, if your Bazi chart has stronger fire, you are more in sync with period 9, which also means that you're probably more sensitive with the change, right? But whether or not you are making the change the right way or the wrong way for you is another thing. Okay, you're just sensitive with the change, right? So most, if not all, I personally experience and notice is those who have very high fire in their chart. Usually these two is where these 2 years plus minus 1 year is where they had a major change. Yeah. Okay. So now, first we need to understand there's 3 types of struggle in this transition. Okay, those 3 struggles in the transition. Okay. Period 8, right? So we are during this period, right? So first, there are some people are still here, which we prefer not to, okay, because we are going to be struggling up carrying the rock up there, right? We're going to carry the rock up there and things like that. So it's not that great, okay? And those who mainly are those who are staying within the comfort zone, and you want to identify which and where are you right now, and got to be honest to yourself, right? And as along the way, as we go deeper into understanding period 9, we will understand, you will truly understand where are you now in this transition, okay? Another one is at the middle, okay? I call it the hybrid effect, right? Hybrid effect is when you have a little bit of period 8, you have a little bit of period 9, which, to be honest, where I am in. Okay, I'm not entirely at period 9 yet. I don't think so. Okay, which I personally also think that is a good thing that we are in this segment, the hybrid, right? Reason is because we are truly moving with time, right? And I personally like this the best. Okay, And one very good example to see the effect of a hybrid is when we started to see that people are using a lot of social causes and humanity causes to actually boost their business. This is a very common thing. Why is that so? Because period 9, remember, it's all about humanity, it's all about your passion and causes and stuff like that. While period 8, okay, it's all about the money. So people are actually combining the both together. Example, there are people who are actually using a period 8 mindset to actually run a period 9 business, right? So we can see this, you see, like 87% of consumers would buy a product based on companies' advocacy on an issue they care about, right? So people start to care, people start to have the kind of mindset, and companies who bother to only make money, right? They will go to social causes, they will boost about all the social work that they do because they know that this thing will attract more people and therefore will increase their business, right? So this is a combination of a hybrid effect, yeah, by the way. So we can see a little bit of both coming together, and perhaps you want to be aware about it yourself, right? There's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong in this. It's just understanding where you are right now because we are growing with time. Okay, so there's no judgment in all these things. Okay, those effects who are way ahead, right, are those entirely in period 9. Okay, there are some people like that. I've met it. Okay, good job. Okay, but still, I would say there's still some struggle to it. Reason why is because we are not entirely there yet. Okay, meaning to say, there are certain things that people still can't accept, right? Or perhaps they themselves feel very tiring because they don't see any much appreciation in what they do, or they don't see any outcome in what they do, right? Yes and no, okay? It's not the whole trend yet, right? So I would say we are getting there, okay? Because remember, fire, once they burn very quick, okay? So the effect might come very quick, very soon, okay? So you want to determine where you are right now. And I think it's really good if you are in the middle, right? And because very important that we get out from it, we move forward into period 9 sooner or later, right? Now, let's go deeper into period 9. What does it really mean, okay? There are many ways to actually understand the energy, but this is not a class, right? So let's not get too technical about it, okay? Bottom line is we can see the energy based on the lines and things like that, right? And I call this the bird in flame energy, because if you actually know the hexagram and the story about it, it's actually a bird. It's actually a little bird, yeah, by the way. And why flame? Because liqua is fire, okay? So it's like a little bird, okay? I think a lot of you guys know that the phoenix thing has made famous, right? By Iverson from Joey up there. And it is true. There's a reason why it's a phoenix, okay? Because it is a bird, right? You read the story of the whole liqua, all right? So what you can truly understand, wrong spelling, and thank you very much. Wrong spelling on the energy, okay? Right? So what do you really understand based on this period 9 as a liqua itself? The first thing that it's very obvious, okay? And feel free to type it down in the chat box if you know what liqua actually means, yeah? Everyone will be able to gain this knowledge as you are sharing as well, okay? So extreme ends is the first thing that I pinpoint, right? Extreme ends, okay? Because it's like, there's two, one yang here, one yang down there, and it's like pulling. If you can see, the energy is a bit pulling there, which also means that, okay, there will be a lot of extremes. Yeah, one very common thing that we are looking now is actually the wealth inequalities. It's going to turn out to be quite extreme. So there will not be any more, like, say, middle ground, so-called middle income group. Okay, it's either they're going to go up or go down, right? So the thing is, it's pooled between, right? The middle part is also hollow, correct? Which is the void, right? Middle is really empty, okay, and hollow, and it does represent a lot of emptiness, okay, in men, okay. That is why we also talk about robots, right? A lot of robots will be coming up, and we can already see that artificial intelligence, right? Artificial intelligence is basically a programmed. I'm not sure. I believe these days, they are even studying how emotions are actually working. You know, all the emoticons that Facebook's actually doing, right? You know, you press like, love, and stuff like that. Is to measure your emotions. Yeah. So there's a way now they're actually measuring your emotions just to use that data for future use. Okay. So they want to understand when you type certain words, what kind of emotions are coming out. So people are already looking into artificializing emotions, right? Which is quite a scary thing, to be honest. And also fire, of course, okay? Fire, it's all about sustenance, right? Because fire, they don't sustain by themselves, okay? You need wood in order to keep the fire burning, right? So it really tells us that we are sustaining because there is help. Okay, meaning to say support is very important. Communities are very important. It also tells us that we all are not alone. Okay, there's no one-man show in a lot of things. It's very difficult these days to do things in one-man show, right? And that is a period 9 thing. There's no one-man show. All right, it's very difficult. Okay, and what we can also see is that fire, right? Fire spreads and it's very unassuming. So what does it mean by unassuming? Unassuming means they can really grow really big and they can grow really small, which also means that we cannot underestimate things nowadays, right? Things can just grow big really quickly and things can go small really quickly. And that's where we can also see that suddenly there are rich people coming up by just being a digital artist selling NFTs, right? Rich suddenly, right? And people suddenly from nowhere become someone, viral effect. And they are very fast, you know, when they spread, they just spread, they won't call you up and say, hello, I'm gonna go now. They won't, all right? Unlike period 8 is Earth, right? So when they grow, also people will start to know already, right? This one is very quick. Okay, there's a reason why period 9 is also about being very fast. Okay, example, it's not just about fame, yeah. Being cancelled is also another thing, yeah. Nowadays it's very popular, okay. And every time when you say one wrong thing, you just from somebody becomes nobody. Okay, these things spread really quickly these days. Okay. Also, period 9 Li Gua also represents beauty and deception. All right. Why I say beautiful? It is very beautiful. Deceptive. Why? You think it's beautiful, you think it's gentle, you think it's nice. Go and touch and see, it burns the hell out of you, right? So it's very like a lot looks good, right? And it may not be the truth sometimes. So this is what it could probably tell us, right? Maybe scam is a lot. Beauty also represents our fame. Okay, therefore, you guys might know personal branding is very important. Okay, what else that I didn't write here? The eye. Period 9 is all about eye as well. Okay, so we're talking about perhaps artificial intelligence in terms of facial, not facial recognition, maybe eye recognition and things like that. I think that is already existing right now, but we are looking into a lot of development in terms of eye-related matters. Okay, maybe next time we will drive in the glasses whereby we see only a certain road and things like that. Who knows? Okay, so what we want at the end of the day, okay, we want to put all these kind of informations together and come up with something depending on what we look at. As you can see, whatever I'm sharing now is really just conceptual basis, right? Of course, all those like industry and everything, I think y'all can just Google about it. It's already everywhere in the internet, right? So, but it's very more important where I come in to serve as a value when I explain to you guys concepts. Okay, so that's much more important, and most importantly, I think that is very often not looked at is the part whereby we tend to overlook the consequences of things. Okay, so we want to see among all these things, right? Is there any consequences? Okay, so one very good example is that let's see 1 point to 1 point in period 8. In terms of values, it will change from assets to money to fame and attention. Right? So that is one thing. So people will move towards fame and attention, correct? Meaning to say people might not be entirely driven by money anymore. Okay, how many of you guys experience staffing issue? Okay, staffing issue, you give them how much money, they also don't want to stay, right? I tell you, many millennials, because they are groomed not on period 8, right? They will not stay because of money. I can tell you that. Many people will actually face this one. Not that much, but I get a lot of these problems everywhere. Okay, because it is not, they are not driven by money anymore, because the millennials, right, they are not born in, they are not groomed, the mindset is not groomed during period 8. So money and security, everything is not part of them, right? So if you talk about fame, attention, giving them the validation, and yes, talking about dreams, the hopes and everything like that, it works, by the way. Yeah, that is what I have one very big ranking boss ask me this question, and I give you all the solutions, but he still cannot accept. Okay, so it's up to him, right? So yeah, there are many people who really can't accept to just talk about giving them acknowledgements and things like that, because really many those who were at period 8, they just don't see it as an important point at all, right? This is when we talk about those who are totally at period 8 mindset. Okay, so moving forward, right, perhaps the fame, right, is going to be a reason why you're hired as well, by the way, right? Because we are talking at the peak of period 9. Okay, so if we constantly are only going in because of the money, right, perhaps it's not a very good idea anymore, right? Maybe now during hybrid time we'll see a little mix. Okay, but no, it is going to come out sooner or later. How about the speed? Speed is also conceptually, right, talking about slow, stationary, and agile and fast, right? We can see this very well in terms of consumerism. How we purchase things these days has become so damn effective, right? We just have a money and an e-wallet inside a certain account, and we just buy things, and immediately with the click of a button, we just purchase. It's so convenient these days. We just buy things online. I seriously am really damn lazy to go out and buy things right now, unless I need to feel like something like a chair, things like that. But in general, things I usually just buy online. Okay, I'm just too lazy to do. When I go out, I will go and eat rather than just do shopping. Okay, to be honest, right? So back then, it's just about a physical store stated there. You go jalan and walk and look and there. So we're talking about very slow process as well. Do you know how much time we actually waste? To me, at least, because I have problems with time. So I don't like to waste my time by just going slowly and walk to a place and look for something. It's too slow, right? So this is the kind of things that will change. Just if you apply it, right, by the way, you can apply it on all the things that will change. Yeah? We are even talking about property markets. Yeah. So real estates, we perhaps are no longer looking at houses that just at one place that doesn't stay. Perhaps people like to move now, right? So it affects our consumer mindset as well. Even the design of the home, who knows in the future, right? I believe there's someone who actually came up with this idea already. Otherwise, I won't be a genius to think about it. That will be a mobile home, the home that can be moved, home that is light, therefore they can rebuild it in another place again. We are talking about that movements, okay? So it's going to impact almost everything we do, right? The convenience of it. Doing this thing is faster than I go and set up a hall in somewhere, right? So all these things talking about speed, right? So the next one is also about physical and virtual, which we talk about, like even this, okay? Because physical is slower, virtual is faster, technically, right? Young men and mid-aged women, okay? By the way, I'm not talking about women in an anatomical sense, all right? It's nothing to do with who we are, men and women. Every human being has a masculine side and a feminine side. We have a children's side as well, okay? So we all have that, right? But the thing is, that's why it's very important to know that these are energy, okay? So I'm not saying that in period 9, we're looking at more women will be very rich or good or whatever, and the men will like go down the drain, right? It is not really the case, yeah. I don't see it that way. Of course, true enough, women could embrace more of that energy because it's just natural to them. But there are men who can also succeed and adapt very well in period 9, because we are just talking about mid-aged women energy. So we need to understand what does it really mean, right? Men can cook very well too. Even I know many men are actually better caretakers compared to women. Yeah, by the way, men has that side of detail-oriented part as well, okay? Which also means, yes, it is true that probably the roles will shift as well, okay? And men are okay with that, right? But it's not good or bad, okay? It's just about the feminine energy, the mid-aged woman energy will rise up even more, all right? Which also men can possibly adapt, okay? What does mid-aged women mean? The wise one, the empathy one, the cultured one. So you imagine like mid-aged woman, well, basically, I wouldn't say all mid-aged women because wisdom doesn't come through age. Wisdom comes through experience. So mostly it's when you experience a lot of life experience thing and the softer side of things will appear. There's the reason why nowadays you can see the hustle bustle culture will start to come down. Hustle bustle culture is more like a young man style. Okay, so the mid-aged woman style is probably more gentle, right? How many of you guys actually experience now? I hope you do, like bringing your child to work day. Many huge organizations are actually embarking to that direction, right? Because they understand that it's difficult to leave your child at home. Sometimes you want to get your child involved to work, and that make people happier. Okay, I know many big companies are also giving out more paternity leaves, right? You see what you think, mother only take care of children, father don't need to rest, all these things, So we want to understand the energy of these things, yeah. Speed dating. I think it's more characteristic aligned to pure energy. Yes, it's more of the characteristics, yeah. Mid-aged women, I think mid-age, you just want to, if your whole life is like 80 years old, probably mid-age is around 40, I guess. So it depends on your lifespan, but it's around there, 30, 40-ish plus, right? So you want to understand the character, the energy, how is it like, right? And that's gonna be increased in everyone. Okay, so you can see now men has become more empathy, has showed more empathy. Yeah, unlike back then, right? They cannot show because it's socially it's not cool. Socially, people would judge. Nowadays it's no longer like that. Yeah, even now, men cooks very well and women work hard. So what is okay, right? So we are shifting slowly towards that, and I see it as a good thing in a way that is trying to balance out the energy of masculine and feminine, right? So it's not a bad thing, okay? But just to understand that men and women has equal potential to be happy, to succeed, to find their space in period 9. Okay, it's not just mid-aged women, right? But then again, of course, we want to examine the consequences a little. So I just give you a little bit of example of what, of course, like when we enjoy all the stuff, right? We also need to, take on the consequences, right? So it's not just about having all the nice, fun stuff, right? There's also a lot of consequences that we need to deal with during this period. Okay, so the first one is actually overly reliance on technology, right? Which is then again, I believe, if you guys have thought about it, you probably know that reliance on technology too much has its own consequences, right? That is one. Number two, short attention span. People now really have just everywhere, they cannot just imagine your if you have kids right now, right? To be honest, I've seen I don't have kids, but my nephew, my nieces, just they cannot, you call them here, they will look at one place, you call them there, they will just look at one place very fast one. They just can't sit still, and I don't remember me being like that when I was young. If I move a bit only, I think I get smacked already. So it's you want to see real period 9 energy. You look at the ones now who are growing, you see slowly they'll adapt period 9 energy. But then again, short attention span and where things gets a bit very fast all the time also has its consequences, right? Because sometimes we need a little bit of time to put a certain place to grow, or really it depends on what culture or what industry you're in. Because sometimes when everything is just too quick, right? We cannot we cannot, it's always about we want. We won't appreciate the now. So there's a lot of gratitude and or sense of presence that we are missing. Okay, and then that is how it's going to be, by the way, because people are just going to be like that. Of course, quick in a sense in business, everything also be like that. But there's also a consequences in that, right? But also depends on the nature of the business. If your kind of nature of the business is difficult to move all the time, then maybe this could be a problem as well, right? So there is a consequence for being like too fast all the time. Okay, we have to always understand that. The next one is also about fear of missing out. Okay, but this type of fear of missing out is unlike the period 8 type of fear of missing out. Fear of missing out during period 8 is very much like because I want it. This one is because, oh, other people have it, I want it too. It's more emotional, right? Because everything seems good. Everything seems nice. What also you want? And people are so drowned into marketing. People are so drowned into advertising, trying to grab your attention here and there. We get exhausted with that, to be honest. Let me know if it's true. You see advertisement everywhere. The moment you start talking about one brand, your phone will start advertising it because the phone hears you, the phone understands algorithms, right? So imagine we are not in period 9 yet. What is it going to be like in the future? Perhaps even to the extent that we drive a car, whatever we say, your phone say or whatever, the billboard itself will show that advertisement. It could be, because it's going to be a virtual billboard or something. Yeah, everyone has a 30 seconds to flip their billboard or something. I don't know, right? But the idea is that, okay, people can be bought so easily through that way, right? So you want to think about these consequences as well. The next one, of course, are feminine and masculine, which I did talk about earlier on, right? Whereby people, even men especially, are letting go a lot of what they think it used to be, what you have to be a man, right? Like you see, Mark did mention, man that can cook is more charming. Yes, definitely. Yeah, I agree with that totally. Okay, because I'm just too lazy to cook sometimes, right? So it's true. What's wrong with men taking care of a kid? What's wrong with men crying? What's wrong with men putting down their egos and being a house husband? What's wrong if their wife can earn more than them, right? Back then, I tell you, it is like a serious thing. Like men and women, they, the husband and wife, they do have these struggles. I personally had that. Okay, I went through that with my ex-husband, so I know I had that issues, right? Because I was trying to stay below him and things like that, and it's like, oh, his ego is trying to fight things out and things like that. So honestly, certain couples do have that, okay? But the ones who are more open-minded these days, who open up to more culture and sense of empathy, basically open up the feminine side of them, they are okay with that, right? And moving forward, I think men will be like that too, right? So it's not a really bad thing to say, right? But then again, of course, when there is a consequences, right? Meaning to say there's also opposing forces, right? Because not everyone is going to agree with that, right? Not everyone is going to accept it. Not everyone is going to agree with that. Not everyone is going to be happy that they have a more powerful woman sitting on board, right? So there would be some issues as well, no matter what, okay? So